India and Pakistan. The big question is, should India play Pakistan where the Asia Cup is concerned? Well, that's already happening. 14 September is the match with Pakistan in Asia Cup. Lots of commentary, lots of opinion. Many suggest that national pride should be over sporting ties, especially when we've drawn a new normal where Pakistan is concerned. If water cannot flow with terror, then why is cricketing ties where terror is concerned? So what we did on the political stock exchange, C-Voter took all these questions to our respondents. What do they think? Should, though it's happening, it's on the cards, but what do our voters feel? Should India play with Pakistan, especially after the Pahalgam terror attack and Operation Sindoor? One decision, massive implications. India will play Pakistan in the Asia Cup 2025 on September 14th. After the Pahalgam terror attack. After Operation Sindoor. After the valor and the might of our armed forces. After India defining a new normal with Pakistan. Should India play cricket with Pakistan? Should India's bat answer Pakistan's bullets? Or should India pick national pride over sporting spirit? If terror and water cannot flow together, can cricket and terror go hand in hand? India's emotion now tracked by India Today's political stock exchange. Unmatched, unmissable data analytics. What India thinks on playing with Pakistan. So that is the moot question. Should India play with Pakistan? Let me at least put one thing to rest. India is already playing with Pakistan because the green signal has been given where the Asia Cup is concerned. 14 September is the big match where India takes on Pakistan. There is always a lot of opinion, viewers, where cricket is concerned, and there is always also a lot of opinion where ties between India and Pakistan are concerned. We have seen emotional scenes. We have seen scenes where we've been exceedingly proud of our armed forces and the way they performed in Operation Sindoor. We've stood by a government when the government said that this is the new normal. But is this the new normal? Playing with Pakistan while we continue to project a new normal. What do the voters really think? Because once again, the decision has been made. India is playing with Pakistan. But should India play with Pakistan? This is the question, and a number of questions with it, which we took to our voters. Let me quickly, before we go into our panelists this evening, dive into the first question that was asked to our respondents. We've broken them up on the basis of those who vote for the NDA, those who vote for the opposition, and the others. So question one that was asked, should India play cricket with Pakistan? Those who vote for the NDA say, yes, definitely. Only 24% feel India should play with Pakistan who vote for the NDA. Opposition voters, 36.8, others 35.5. In totality, only 31% of people, which is near just about 3 in 10 people that were interviewed, feel that India should play with Pakistan. The other figures, yes, probably 13.7%. No, not at all. 51% believes that India should not play with Pakistan at all. We're going to break it down as well on a number of other questions, but I want to quickly introduce our panelists to you because, like I said, as much as it is an emotive issue, it is also an issue that concerns sports. Nikhil Nas, consulting editor, Sports India Today, in the studio with me. Sushant Sareen, senior fellow, ORF strategic affairs expert. Neeru Bhatia, senior sports journalist and columnist. I'd like to go to Nikhil, my colleague who's been tracking developments. Nikhil, the decision, I guess, has already been made by the government of India. The green light has been given and India is going to play Pakistan come the 14th of September.
Yes, Preeti. In fact, today is the day where we've kind of got an official confirmation that India is playing. Of course, I knew that the BCCI was involved in a meeting with the Asian Cricket Council a couple of weeks back, and that was sort of an agreement there where they reached that they will be participating in the Asia Cup. Remember, India are also the host, and they're ready to take this tournament outside of India to accommodate that Pakistan plays. Today, because you had the team selection and you had the captain of the T20 team also come and address the press conference. So now it's pretty much official. And I can't believe that the BCCI could have taken this decision or in fact even attended that meeting without a green signal from the government. So yes, for all practical purposes, the India versus Pakistan game is on and not without the permission of the government. So that is something that we've established today. What is really interesting, Preeti, is when I'm looking at your numbers, because we had a recent scenario where there was a Legends League game between India and Pakistan featuring mostly retired cricketers. That game was also planned for months in advance, but a couple of days before that game had to start, there was so much chatter on social media, so much of backlash on social media that the players decided to pull out. Now when I look at your numbers, and probably this gives me an indication, I've broken it down roughly into two, yes or no, mildly yes and aggressively no. I've just broken it down into yes and no, and it's a very close call where almost 45% of your respondents are okay with an India-Pakistan game, 55 say no, and that is quite an eye-opener for me, because whatever I've seen on social media, majority of the people are saying,
well, Nikhil,
no
you
way
got
of playing
to also
cricket.
wait for the breakup of that figure that you see on your television screen.
Yeah.
But yes, Nikhil is right, because if you actually, add up, yes, probably, and yes, definitely, it pretty much inches towards the 50% mark, and 51% say definitely not. Let's quickly cut across to Sushant Sareen as well as Neeru Bhatia.
Sorry, Preeti, just to add on.
Come in.
Probably, because I was very surprised that the government, which had told us that we have nothing to do with Pakistan, don't touch anything that even mentions Pakistan just a short while ago, have gone ahead and given this permission. Probably they had, now that I look at your numbers, probably they did their own survey, had an idea that it's so close.
Like I said, wait for the entire survey, Nikhil, because there are other questions as well. But Sushant Sareen, is this the new normal? Water will not flow with terror, but cricket definitely can.
Quite really, Preeti, the shamelessness of the BCCI is matched only by the silence of the government, which is loquacious in everything else. But when it comes to playing cricket with Pakistan, you won't get a single peep out of it.
But Mr. Sareen, at the cost of coming in and interrupting you, I hardly ever do that. But why I'm doing it is Sushant Sareen, you had Nikhil just say, the BCCI wouldn't have dared to give a nod if there was no government nod.
Yeah, so the reason is, I think the government could not dare to go against BCCI. You can put it whichever way you want to put it, which means that BCCI and its leadership is far more powerful than the sentiment of people in this country or the government of India. BCCI rules this country by default because they can ride roughshod over anything that they want to, and nobody in the government or in the ruling party has the guts to go against them. But just on this particular number which you are showing, I think it would be wrong to take the yes definitely and the yes probably together. The yes probably would have a lot of caveats. There would be a lot of people who would say that, listen, because it's a multilateral cricket tournament, why can't we play that? We can't be out of every multilateral cricket tournament. So it's fine if, you're playing a multilateral tournament, etc., etc.
Right.
So there are a lot of caveats out there. So I don't think the correct way would be to club together yes, probably, and yes, definitely. To my mind, I think the more important number is the no, not at all. Because at least out there's no ambiguity.
So that's where you stand on. No, not at all. Neeru Bhatia, your quick comments.
Yeah, well, I want to first start with the fact that it's a fact that for any tour, even if the BCCI has to travel abroad, it needs a functionary nod from the government to travel and get the clearance for the tour ahead, even though the government doesn't interfere in the workings of the BCCI. Second thing, it's very interesting to people have not been talking about it. There's an Asia Cup which is going to happen. There's a hockey tournament which will happen later this year, next
Okay.
month, where Pakistan refused to travel due to security reasons, even though the Indian government had offered them visas, etc., and all the facilities like they were offering to other participating nations. It's a multinational tournament, but in this case, in cricket's case, the BCCI not only got the go ahead, and they are going ahead and playing the tournament. So it's different yardsticks for different sports, I
Okay.
think. Having said that, the call was BCCI's, and yes, the BCCI is powerful enough to have requested the tournament to go on with Pakistan and India playing, and they went ahead with it.
All right. Okay. You know what I'm going to do is
Can I
quickly
just
going to take all the other. I'll come back to you, Sushant. Just allow me to give in all our other figures, and then we're going to come back to all three experts. So the other question, viewers, that was posed to the respondents. Once again, we've broken them into because cricket with Pakistan is also emotive, politically speaking. We've broken them up into voters from the NDA, opposition, and the fence-sitters. So this is what it looks like on the question of hypocritical of BCCI to not play bilateral cricket with Pakistan but play ICC tournaments. NDA voters, 58% feel yes, hypocritical. 49.9% of opposition voters, total 52.1% voters feel that it was hypocrisy on the part of the BCCI to not play bilateral cricket with Pakistan but play ICC tournaments. So with those numbers on your television screen, let me go on to our third question that was posed. It's a quick snap poll that C Voter did, and the other question was, should India not play against Pakistan in ICC tournaments? Yes, nearly 45.8%. You'll see the micro data right there between opposition and NDA voters. So nearly 45.8% feel that India should not play with Pakistan in ICC tournaments. No is 21.7%. That means India should play. India should avoid Pakistan no matter what, 21.2%. So if you add it up, it's nearly about 65% that think it's not a good idea to play with Pakistan. Does resumption of cricket insult sacrifice of armed forces? All right, viewers, this is a touchy topic because all of us out there keep the armed forces of our country very, very close to our heart, and nothing compares to it. So on the question, does resumption of cricket insult the sacrifice of our braves and armed forces coming after Operation Sindoor? Yes, definitely. 62.1%, a whopping 62.1% say resumption of ties with cricket would mean insulting our armed forces. No, not at all is just 18.2%. Yes, probably 12.9%. So nearly 80% people feel that if we play cricket with Pakistan, we are insulting our armed forces that fought Operation Sindoor. Lastly, now this was an interesting question because the question was asked, should the Supreme Court intervene immediately? Because the government and the BCCI has decided to play cricket with Pakistan. Yes, 60.5% want the Supreme Court to intervene and put a stop to the match that is coming up, viewers, on the 14th of September. No, just 22.1%, can't say 17.4%. So, Nikhil, the micro data clearly mirrors what you were seeing and, anticipating on social media. Most people feel it's a no-go.
Well, I mean, these numbers are revealing, Preeti, and I think this is exactly what we were looking at and what we were gauging. I think what is the most interesting point, because you actually put in the ICC tournament, and I'm going to make a distinction here. Asia Cup is not an ICC tournament. Now, Asia Cup previously has also been postponed multiple times. I think it's still a tournament that's fluid. With an ICC tournament, you also risk sanctions. You also risk being isolated. I think those risks don't run with the Asia Cup, which is why I think when you look at an ICC tournament, and it's really heartening to see that most Indians have voted that even in ICC tournaments in the current circumstances, you wouldn't want to engage with Pakistan. But I think their result should be even greater when you just look at Asia Cup, Because as I said, Asia Cup is just, a group of Asian countries that get together a few years. Sometimes it's a 2-year gap. Sometimes that gap increases for 4 years. It keeps getting postponed as well. I can't understand what the compulsion was of the government. And I'll put it back on the government because as, you heard a short while ago as well, when Neeru was pointing out that even for the Champions Trophy, the Indian team did not travel to Pakistan. So while the BCCI may be taking all the cricketing decisions, I don't agree that, BCCI is more powerful than the government, because the government actually told the BCCI the Indian team should not be traveling to Pakistan, and then they followed that. So now on the Asia Cup front, even if India had to pull out of this Asia Cup, I don't think they risk any sort of sanctions. And I don't think that would isolate India in any account for that matter. So that is why it becomes even more surprising. And then to add to that, Preeti, as you mentioned, a short while ago or just a month ago, we were told, don't touch anything that is related to Pakistan, don't watch their content, their YouTube channels were banned, their handles on X were banned, you could not consume any Pakistani content, Diljit Dosanjh was banned for casting a Pakistani actress in their film. So if all of that existed, if that is the atmosphere that existed, how on earth can you go ahead and play
Pakistan?
Pakistan?
Is there hypocrisy there? And Sushant Sareen, I'll bring you in two very pertinent questions. Nearly 80% of our respondents actually feel, Sushant Sareen, that resuming cricketing ties in whatever form with Pakistan is insulting our army braves. Number one. And there is a 60% that actually feels that the Supreme Court needs to come in and say, no, India shouldn't play with Pakistan.
No, so Preeti, frankly, I don't think the Supreme Court has any locus standi on this case. For everything,
True.
even if we want to clean drains in your colony, you have to go to Supreme Court. What kind of a goddamn country are we running that for every damn thing we run to the Supreme Court? I don't think Supreme Court has any locus standi, so I will not take this question. On the other ones, I think there's a clear contradiction which comes out. That there are 80% of the people who feel that, well, it is insulting for the armed forces and the people who sacrifice or make the supreme sacrifice for the country. And then when you look at the other questions which you have put, it seems that the sentiment is a little more mixed, right? So the numbers in that sense are a little contradictory. And one of the reasons for that is that, there is that gray area, something which Nikhil also mentions, that, there could be certain sanctions put. Now, my own sense is that he's 100% correct on Asia Cup. We have cracked down on the Asia Cup in the past. We call all the shots on the Asia Cup. And I cannot for the life of me understand that if we were the hosts, then what was the reason to shift the tournament to UAE only to accommodate Pakistan? And that is bizarre in this climate at a time when the Pakistanis are threatening to throw nuclear bombs on India. You say, no, okay, fine. Because we want to play Asia Cup, we'll go to UAE. One more point, Preeti, please allow me. Nikhil
allowing you,
about,
sir, allowing you. Go ahead.
Nikhil
You feel very passionately about this.
No, I am. Because, I find it bizarre that at one level you say Operation Sindoor is still on and you keep shouting from the rooftops. At another level, you say that, okay, to accommodate Pakistan so that we can play not one, but possibly 3 matches, we'll go to Dubai. If you can make sense of this, is as bizarre as Marco Rubio saying that China buying Russian oil does not fuel war, India buying Russian oil fuels war. Okay, but on Nikhil's point, on the ICC and the sanctions which will be put, look, this is a question of principle versus politics. Okay, if the principle is that we are not going to play against a terrorist country like Pakistan, then you stick to the principle. Then you say, I am not going to play with them, regardless of whether it is an ICC tournament or anything else. And if that means that my candidacy for hosting the Olympics, as some people are saying, I don't know what Olympics has to do with cricket, but in 2036, I don't know what the hell is going to happen in the next 6 months, considering how the world is moving. And we are talking about 2036. This is the worst kind of things, which people do out here to fool public. And which is why, if the messaging was clear, I think the survey results would have been a lot more clearer than what they emerge right now.
All right. Okay. So Sushant Sareen putting his passionate plea forward. And, one thing that we understood on this account is that most of our viewers feel very, very passionately, both about cricket and our relationship or the lack of it with Pakistan. So both of them coming together really, it does have very, very different views and bipolar views that come in. Neeru, go ahead. You wanted to make a point.
Yeah, I just want to make a small point. I completely agree with what Mr. Sareen has said. But in this case, this India-Pakistan thing is not about relations with each other. It's more about the money, because the maximum money that any cricket match will earn from a tournament like like Asia Cup, which is a smaller tournament, will be from an India-Pakistan match. The TRPs, the eyeballs that will garner will be the maximum. The advertisements and the advertisement rates will be the maximum. So I think it's not so much about relations here as much as it is about the money that it's going to garner. Secondly, I think the government, the onus is on the government to take a stand clearly. Either you allow or you don't allow, and that has to be clear. It can't be pick and choose.
Well, you're right there. I'm going to end it there, but we leave it with that question. How much of a price is fair enough for the valor of our braves? How much of a price is fair enough of those who lost their lives in Pahalgam?